The notion that the mainstream media uses global warming to oppress Christians is a complex and multifaceted issue. While it may seem like a far-fetched concept, there are some arguments that suggest a potential link between the two. It's essential to approach this topic with a nuanced perspective, considering various factors and evidence. Firstly, some Christian groups have expressed concerns that the mainstream media's focus on global warming and environmentalism is an attempt to undermine traditional Christian values. They argue that the emphasis on climate change and sustainability is often tied to a broader liberal agenda, which may be at odds with Christian teachings. For instance, some Christians believe that the Bible teaches humans to have dominion over the earth, rather than being stewards of the environment. This perspective can lead to a perception that the media's climate change narrative is an attack on Christian principles. Moreover, the media's portrayal of climate change often involves catastrophizing and alarmism, which can be seen as a means of controlling public opinion and shaping cultural values. Some Christians feel that this kind of rhetoric is used to guilt trip and shame individuals into conforming to a particular worldview, which may not align with their faith. The constant bombardment of apocalyptic messages and dire predictions can create a sense of anxiety and fear, leading people to question their beliefs and values. This can be particularly challenging for Christians who are taught to have faith and trust in a higher power, rather than relying on human institutions or ideologies. Additionally, the media's coverage of climate change often involves promoting policies and practices that may be at odds with Christian teachings. For example, some environmental initiatives may involve population control measures such as abortion or contraception, which are strongly opposed by many Christian denominations. Similarly, the push for renewable energy and sustainable development may involve implementing policies that prioritize economic and social justice over individual freedom and autonomy, which can be seen as conflicting with Christian values. It's also worth noting that some Christians feel that the media's focus on climate change is an attempt to distract from more pressing issues, such as moral decay, social injustice, and spiritual poverty. They argue that emphasis on environmentalism can lead to a kind of eco-salvation mentality, where people begin to see the natural world as a primary source of salvation, rather than God. This can lead to a form of idolatry, where the creation is worshipped rather than the Creator. However, it's essential to recognize that not all Christians share these views, and many are actively engaged in environmentalism and sustainability efforts. In fact, some Christian denominations have been at the forefront of environmental activism, recognizing the importance of caring for God's creation and promoting stewardship of the natural world. These Christians see the pursuit of environmental sustainability as a moral and spiritual imperative rather than a threat to their faith. In conclusion, while the idea that the mainstream media uses global warming to oppress Christians may seem like a conspiracy theory, there are some legitimate concerns and arguments that warrant consideration. The media's focus on climate change and environmentalism can be seen as a challenge to traditional Christian values, and some policies and practices promoted in the name of sustainability may be at odds with Christian teachings. However, it's crucial to approach this issue with nuance and balance, recognizing that many Christians are actively engaged in environmentalism and sustainability efforts, and that the relationship between faith and environmentalism is complex and multifaceted. Ultimately, a more constructive and respectful dialogue between Christians and environmentalists is necessary to build bridges and promote a more holistic understanding of the relationship between faith, science, and the natural world.